Hey y'all, it's Miss A. We're starting Unit 3, which is going to be multiplying and dividing rational numbers. So we're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions and decimals. Today we're starting off with multiplying decimals. Hopefully this is review. I do believe you did it in 5th grade at some point. So let's get started, and hopefully y'all find it pretty easy. Alright, so here are some steps to follow whenever we're multiplying decimals. Step number 1 is to line up the numbers, not the decimal points. If you actually line up the decimals, you're taking the possibility of actually making your problem longer, because if you line them up, you might have to add zeros. So don't line up your decimals, just line up your numbers. Step number 2 is going to be to ignore the decimal point and multiply like normal. Step 3 is to count the number of decimal places in the problem. This means count how many numbers you have to the right of the decimal points. Number 4, starting from the right of your answer, move the decimal point to the left, the number of places you counted in step number 3. So we have this example here, 2.45 times 3.4. So we're going to multiply these. Step number 1 says to line up the numbers, not the decimal. So I'm going to write the numbers, and I'm going to pretend the decimals aren't even there for a second. So we have 2, 4, 5, 3, and 4. Now I can go in and place those decimals. So my decimal here was between the 2 and the 4. Decimal is here. Alright, now that's step number 1, line up the numbers, not the decimal points. Notice how they're not on top of each other, and that's okay. Number 2 says to ignore the decimal point and multiply like normal. So I'm just going to multiply 245 times 34. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16. Add the 2, you get 18. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 makes 9. Alright, now I like to cross these numbers off because I'm done with those. I'm going to cross off the 4, and I'm going to put a placeholder. Now I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 3 plus 1. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 makes 13. And then 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 makes 7. Alright, now I'm going to add 0. 8 plus 5 gets me 13. Then this is 10 plus 3 makes 13. And then 7 plus 1 makes 8. Alright, that was step number 2, multiply like normal. Step number 3 says to count the number of decimal places in the problem. That means the numbers to the right of the decimal points. So here's my decimal point. I've got 1, 2 numbers here. Here's my decimal point. I have 1. So altogether, 2 plus 1 makes 3. So now I'm going to move my decimal 3 times. And then number 4 says starting from the right of your answer, so starting over here, we're going to move the decimal point the same number of places we just found in number 3. So 3 places. So starting here, 1, 2, 3. So 8.330. But we also could leave that 0 off and make it 8.33. Both of these, so either one is acceptable. Both of those are the correct answer, because the ending 0 doesn't matter. Alright, so let's do a couple more examples. Again, following the same exact steps. So we're going to do number 1. Zoom in a little bit. Number 1 says to multiply 14 times 4.9. So first thing I'm going to do is I like to put the bigger number. So if I had 14 and 49, I'm going to put the bigger number on top, even though it's second. So I'm going to put 49 here, and then I'm going to put 14 underneath it, because step number 1 is to line up the numbers, not the decimal. Now I can place the decimal point. I only have 1. There's not a decimal in 14. And now I'm going to multiply like normal. 9 times 4 is 36. 16 plus 3 makes 19. Put a placeholder. Cross it off, cross it off. Now 1 times 9, 1 times 4, and add. 686, but now I have to count my decimal places. So after the number, we have 1 decimal point here, After here, we have no decimals, so all I'm going to do is move it one time from the back, and I get 68.6 as my answer. All right, example number 2 is 3.7 times 5.2. Again, I'm going to put my bigger number first, so 52, 37, and I'm going to put my decimal points. They actually line up, and that's okay. Now I'm going to multiply like normal. We get 14. That's 35 plus 1 makes 36. Put a placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. Add everything up. 4, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 1. And then count my decimal places. I've got one number here, one number here, so I'm going to move it 2 times, starting from the back. Once, twice. And our answer is 19.24. Alright guys, I actually want you to pause the video, and I want you to do the following 2 examples on your own and see if you get them correct. So like I said, go ahead and pause the video, complete these 2 examples on your own, and then unpause the video and see if you got them correct. Alright, now that y'all are back, you've solved them on your own. Let's see if you got them correct. So we have 123.65. Got my decimal point here, my decimal point here. Multiply like normal. 15, 11, 6. Put a placeholder. 6 times 3 is 18. 12 plus 1 makes 13. 6 plus 1 makes 7. Add them up. Now I'm going to count my decimal places. I've got 2. I've got 1, so I'm going to move it 3. And we get, final answer is there. Alright, and then the last one you should have already done is put 4, 3, 2, 8. Then place my decimal points. They line up, and that's okay. Alright, trying to move it. Alright, we get 24. That's 32 plus 2 makes 34. We get 6. We get 8. Add them up. 4, 10, 12. One number here, one number here, so I'm going to move it twice. And that's it, guys. Final answer is 12.04. Hopefully you found this as easy as I feel it is. If for some reason you are struggling with multiplication, please take the time and go look at my YouTube page. I've got a video showing you how to use basic multiplication and how to use the lattice method if that's something you might need help with. So please, like I said, if you're struggling with multiplication at all, please go watch that video on my YouTube page. Y'all have a great day. Please let me know if y'all have any questions or need help with anything. I'm available on Zoom or shoot me an email in Canvas. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.